Hey everyone, you might be aware of the Sadhguru SriBrahma documentary that was published a while back, and there were 7 episodes, and it got a lot of views. So I also watched it, and I became curious about all these different places that Sadhguru SriBrahma visited, and his shrines are still alive there. So I compiled a list of all of these places in a blog post, because with all of the details about how you can reach there, what are the local contacts you can connect with, and a lot of other details like Guru Puja dates and stuff. So that blog post link is given in the description below. In order to write that blog post and get all the information, I basically had a conversation with Prem, who made that documentary, and we happened to have a Zoom call, and part of it was recorded, part of it wasn't recorded because this was not a formal video call that I was doing. This was just a video call to get all the information, and some of it got recorded. So I'm sharing that part of it. It's not my entire conversation, it's a part of it. And when I looked at it now, because this is a very old video, much before I even launched my YouTube channel, so when I looked at it now, I thought some of the parts were pretty interesting and people might be interested to know about it. So that is why I'm sharing this video. But just to understand, this was an actual casual conversation I having with someone, which got recorded, and the main purpose of the conversation was to get all the details of places, Sadhguru SriBrahma places that we can travel to, and the travel related details and other bits. And so I think one of the places which has a lot of Sadhguru SriBrahma shrines is the Coonoor place. I had visited the Coonoor, one of the tribal schools that you spoke about, in which is in the Coonoor city itself. So I had gone there because I end up solo traveling a lot, and then I wanted to go to this one of the ashrams which is in the forest, but they said that you can't go alone, so that I went to the tribal school that had Sadhguru SriBrahma photo and a samadhi, not his, someone samadhi was there.
His disciple samadhi is there.
Okay, yeah, so I visited that place. So maybe we can, we can discuss Coonoor, because Coonoor has so many places like.
You're saying Ooty and Coonoor, right? Overall.
Yeah. I think that's also a place where I think in the documentary you mentioned that everybody has his photo in their house and stuff.
Yes, Nilgiris, because those people in Nilgiris, they are some kind of tribe who ascribe to Shaiva worship. Shaiva, not in the Shiva form that we understand, but as a formless thing. They combine nature worship and a formless Shaiva worship. There are different tribes, but one thing that they all have in common is that their devotion. So maybe that's the reason why Sadhguru SriBrahma chose to stay longer there and initiate them. So the initiation, more number of initiations, even today. So last month was the Avani month. Avani Avitam happened and initiation happened there. So Nilgiris, as you said, has more number of places. Maybe there were more number of places in the plains as well, but as I said, they were taken over or they are not maintained anymore. Even recently, as recent as 10 years back, in Tirunelveli town, where the old bus stand was, there used to be annual Guru Puja and Annadanam happening. So when the national highway was built, widened, and the new bus stand all came up, it went away. So that doesn't exist anymore. Sad. Yeah, so there could have been, they say there were more than 72 ashrams around the 1950s, all around Tamil Nadu. But today, whatever we listed is like around 12. That's all is there. Nilgiris, as I said, one reason it's maintained is because people are devout and they have maintained that for them he is God. So in every house they have his photo, and whatever they do is because they will say Sadhguru has told like this. So that's how they live. Coonoor Institute, that college, that ITI, was established. See, all these places were established after Sadhguru SriBrahma left by his disciple. Sri Guruvel Swami. And he was the one who came and established the Sadhguru Seva Sangam, Sadhguru Seva Samiti or Trust it's called. So he put all his effort. I think he lived up to 90 years of age or something, and he left his body in Palani. His samadhi is still there, and Guru Pujas happened there also. I think we have showed that in the documentary, right? No?
I don't think in detail. Maybe you mentioned it in
No,
passing.
not yet. Yeah, we are yet to talk about his disciples. Yeah, in the later episodes, we'll talk about his disciples. So he was the one who established these institutions, all these in Coonoor that we see, and even in the plains. He's originally from Thanjavur. Even today, there are 2 temples that he created in Thanjavur, which is in a very dilapidated condition. Efforts are going on. One of the Swamis from Nilgiris again. It's surprising that from there he has to come and take over this place and trying to renovate and maintain the place. This place, which I'm talking about in Thanjavur, that around 2-3 kilometers, you'll see Shivalingas everywhere. On the field, on the side of the road, huge, like 3 feet, 5 feet Shivalingas. And nobody knows the explanation of why these are. Whatever could be straightened up, just there on the field, they put some cloth and vibhuti and all that, they're maintaining it. So from there, this person came and joined Sadhguru SriBrahma as a disciple and went with him everywhere. And after he left, they say that he came back, stayed in each place, spent time, even building, like the Yellanahalli building that you see, Ashram. They say that he stayed there and with the help of few other people, raised donations, and then established the place there and set up how initiations have to be done, how the puja has to be done. Then he moves to another place. Like this he did. Few places they did not let us go inside and shoot. So those were all established much later after Sadhguru SriBrahma left. In the documentary, we only focused on the places he traveled and the places he stayed or established a certain ashram kind of thing. Trichy is the only place that was established and built when he was there. The rock well kind of thing, the 8-faced well, which they say that he was in samadhi twice for 40 days there. Once it was just the mud pit, and then after the donations and the charity came from I forget the name.
We should, but so just talking about Coonoor, what are the different places that are there?
Yeah, so when you climb up from Mettupalayam, the first thing which comes is Burliyar, which is just in a turning. It's visible from the bridge, but many people miss it because it's just on the road. Burliyar, that's the cave.
That's the cave.
Mentioned. Yeah, that's the cave which we mentioned where he stayed for overnight and that tantric work and all that happened. So that place is Burliyar. That's the first thing which comes. Then you go up. Then the road goes into Vandi Cholai. Vandi Cholai is another 20 kilometers into the forest area kind of route. Those are all recent ashrams. But if you go to Edappalli is the place where he first came. And so he came to another village, but he came and spent time in Edappalli. Edappalli is where you said they didn't let you go up into the forest. So that's Edappalli where there is a pit where they said again he went into samadhi for quite some time. And there is a small pond which is fed by a stream. So maybe he stayed there because there is a source of water and it was quite away from the village. So maybe it was away from people's disturbance, and maybe he was in samadhi there for quite some time. So Edappalli now has expanded a little bit, and they have renovated the building also. It's no more the old structure that was there. So that's another thing, another place. And then we have Yellanahalli. Yellanahalli was Sadhguru go there, but Guruvel Swami created this this place later on. I don't know, maybe it was like a vantage point on the way from, it is the highway, it's on the highway from Mettupalayam to Ooty. So maybe he set up a place there, or somebody donated a land and that's how that place came up. But he didn't, Sadhguru SriBrahma didn't go there. But Yellanahalli is doing a major job today in bringing all the ashrams together, conducting, maintaining these rituals as prescribed by Sadhguru SriBrahma. Then in
So you mentioned
Coonoor
that other route you said Vandi Cholai or something that has an ashram there.
Yes, Vandi Cholai has ashram. So there is one Swami there who is taking. We couldn't interview him last time. This time we will attempt to interview him. But this was established much later. So there are many other places which have come up. Vandi Cholai and one more Swami who wears a saffron robe. He is actually the head of all the ashrams. But he came in like 15 years back or something. He saw Sadhguru SriBrahma's photo when he went to Sabarimala, and he said his eyes were just drawing me in, and I inquired who it is and all that. And he came, he bought a piece of land, and then he made it Sadhguru SriBrahma Ashram. That's also a nice location. We will show those things, show places in the next series. So there are so many other places along the Vandi Cholai route. There are 3 places that we know of. And that Swami also mentioned about a tree where Sadhguru SriBrahma sat, which we couldn't go to, but where the local people are still lighting a lamp and maintaining that place. No photos there. Many places there are no photos, just people as memory, in memoriam of Sadhguru SriBrahma having sat there. They're just lighting a lamp and maintaining it. But we want to document that also so that it's remembered forever. And other places, so there is, you don't want to reveal everything in this, but there is one huge cave kind of thing that Vijay Kumar visited, which has a mention in one of the texts written by his disciples. So that cave is also on the main road, but there is a Hanuman temple nearby, and a Ganesha temple also. But it's a huge cave where people can actually go and stay. It seems Sadhguru SriBrahma spent some time there also. And there is this Ooty Lake. So Ooty Lake is where initially he sat outside through the night, and he was discovered in the morning by that Swami from the ashram. And so that's Kashi Vishwanath temple. Even now it is, if you go inside the temple, the Shivalinga is there. On the side, there is a separate hall where you will see like more than 10 to 12 samadhis, Jiva samadhis of Siddhas. So it's a place where many people have chosen to do their sadhana there. And that's the place where Sadhguru, when asked, he said, "What were you doing through the whole night?" He said, "There were so many beings around. So I was giving mukti, moksha to them." So that space, which is by the Ooty Lake, Kashi Vishwanath temple. The temple is also big. So it seems he stayed with that Swami for some time because he requested him to stay. That is another place. And the Mariamman, Ooty Mariamman temple, where that incident happened, where his hands and legs were.
Oh, yeah, that was.
So that place is there. That also we have not gone in short yet. We'll be going again to do that. Right now, that room where it happened has become a kitchen right now.
Oh.
But they still, if you go there, but they will tell this is where that happened. Lack of space, so they started using it, It's a Mariamman temple, so they don't want to keep some yogi's photo and change it into. So they're still maintaining as a Mariamman temple. But Vijay Kumar found more information about certain things that happened there written in a book. So those things we will talk about in the series.
Then you mentioned these 4-5 places, and then there are all the tribal schools and colleges also. The one you mentioned, ITL.
Yeah, so there is what the samadhi you mentioned of Ramalinga Swami is there. And I think some legal cases are going on, but it was open when we went 2 years back. But the strength of the school is less, and it's not, because right now, you have so many schools, people can afford it and all that, but 60 years back, 70 years back, that was the, only school where everybody can go to, irrespective
right,
of
and definitely because the tribals and all even women, for example, didn't have school access. So school for tribals is a big deal at that time for sure.
Yes, that's why the president, the then president, Dr. Radhakrishnan, sorry, Dr. Zahir Hussain. So the then president, he also visited. These photos are there,
Yeah, I think
displayed
so.
in that place. You saw those?
Yeah, in the shrine itself, they've displayed some of the photographs of some big people.
So there they have Periyar photo also visiting that place. So that place, even people from Japan, Korea, somewhere they visited because it was like a model tribal school at that point of
Okay.
time. That's how what standard it was at the one point.
Yeah, I think a lot of amazing things about India have such spiritual roots. So people just talk about the final effect and they just skip out all the spiritual stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So I think if wherever we are close to, like if you are in Coimbatore, you keep going to this place where Sadhguru SriBrahma place is. This is how I think we can keep these places going. Otherwise, eventually they are going to shut it down or take over. It will be taken over by somebody else. So I just request people, even if you cannot financially support, just keep going. Like on a Saturday, Sunday, go there, spend some time. Especially the Coimbatore one, Puram. There are children there. You can sponsor lunch there, or you can just go and teach there. When we went, there were two college girls who would come and spend time teaching English to these boys there, because it's like an orphanage attached to that Sadhguru SriBrahma thing. So in whichever way you can contribute, because this is how these places will survive. Otherwise, not only they'll be forgotten, but we will not even know what these people lived for. These yogis, and people think they were all like simply renunciates and who left everything and went. Not necessarily. They came back and gave to society, created infrastructures for education, for women empowerment, especially for women empowerment right from 1910, at least because we were studying that time period. These people have done enormous amount of work, and they have even opposed the then existing leaders of social, religious, and social thing to bring about this transformation. And we don't know about these things because history never records about these people. They just dismiss it as, oh, another Baba or another yogi, and they are not brought into the history framework. But if you, like
And
how
also,
Vijay Kumar did, if you go deep and look at their life history, this is what they have done.
Yeah, and also because we keep, if when we dissect our history in this way, like we remove certain sections completely out, then when we are looking for solutions in the future, we will not look in the right direction. Because if we realize that spiritual movements have been such powerful social transformation tools, then for the future, that is a potential solution. So,
yeah, like how in Teni Ashram, where the Marikundu Suplapuram, they're having samadhis of female disciples, and not just general disciples. They were core disciples. Like he chose them. Like there were 6 to 7 disciples, and among them 3 were women. And even today, during the Guru Puja day, they go around and pay respects to these samadhis of the disciples, and then only they come. So one was always staying with him during his stay in Teni Suplapuram, Marikonda Suplapuram, used to cook and feed him, all that. And she was not just a caretaker, because later on, she used to even heal people, is what the locals are saying. So she was actually a disciple who was initiated into the sadhana. So at that point of time, around 1910 to 1915, to do such a thing would have been a revolutionary step. Today, it may not seem a big thing, but at that point of time, when women were not allowed to go out, except to collect firewood or collect water, to make them walk the path of spirituality, that too into initiation and stuff like that, would have been a big revolutionary step. And to read this, to make it available for today's people, is important, because the image of sadhus and yogis today has been totally distorted, and I think that needs restructuring, and to remind people that that's not what these people were. They were actually people who are involved in people's transformation, social transformation.
So in Coonoor, you had mentioned one more thing, like there was a lake or something where he made his disciple walk on it. Which one was that?
Ooty Lake.
That was the same Ooty lake where he also was doing sadhana and all.
Yes.
Okay,
So there were
great.
different versions of that Ooty story, walking on the thing. So in one, there is this Velliyangiri Gounder, one of his disciples called Velliyangiri Gounder. He's asking him to walk. In another version, he just calls a bystander boy, small boy, and asks him to go and pick up the flower. In another, the man who challenges him that our Jesus walked on water, what can you do? So he's saying, I will make you only walk. And he's making him walk on water. So like this, there are many versions of it. But then whatever was written in a couple of textbooks is what we have shared. The bystander boy, he asks and makes him to walk.
Cool. So then, okay, I think we covered Coonoor and Ooty about whatever we know. I think the other place in the Nilgiris is basically 7th Hill, which is we've not covered it in your documentary at all.
We have just mentioned that he went to Podihai Hills. Podihai Hills in Velliyangiri Hills is one corner in the 7th hill, which is called Podihai Hills. That's where he left. So that's the record written by his disciples that he tells. So few disciples are accompanying him till the foothills, and he tells them, you all stay here, and only 2-3 more people, close disciples, are accompanying him till the very end. And he says, this one will come back. He will come back and then he leaves. So how he leaves, that description is not there. So we don't know whether he dematerialized and left like how Sri Ramalinga Adigal Vallalar did, or he actually shed his body and then left. But they say that he left through his 7 chakra. So we don't know the actual method of leaving it. And with such beings, we can't make any guesswork. So we just say that he left his body.
And then those disciples which were with him, what happened to them?
They came back. So one of that was Sri
Guruvel
Swami. So because of him, we know, because he wrote down the account and Sri Ramalinga Swami compiled it into a text. So all these songs that the Sadhguru sang, or so there are 2 mentions where they say that Sadhguru used to sing in a very powerful voice, which was very magnetic, and it made them go into a meditative trance. So these are accounts by the disciples of Sadhguru, who had written that he used to sing in a very magnetic voice. So those songs were written in palm leaves by Sri Guruvel Swami. And these palm leaves are there in Coonoor Ashram. Some have started getting damaged. So we requested, if we can get access to it, we can actually do the proper processing of those leaves so that it's maintained. But those were written down into text, and he printed and released them as Jiva Kanni books. We want to translate this into English because many people had requested, because we put a few verses in the start of the documentary. Few of the people requested, why don't you release the whole thing into English? But the problem is, the Tamil that was written, this is ancient Tamil. So we don't want to do injustice by interpreting with our own understanding. So we have requested a few people who are good at this translation, but it's taking time. So we want to do this. We will be publishing English translation of the Jiva Kanni. So yeah, the disciple Guruvel Swami came, and then he established and he made a few efforts and all this he did.
Okay, great. So then the next place we have is Coimbatore, as you've mentioned, which I recently visited just 2 days back. That is the Sadhguru, the Sevashram in RS Puram. That has one hall with his photo and a little lingam and a shrine in general. And as you were saying, there's an orphanage that is associated with it, and they have some Bhojanalai also. So in the COVID lockdown, apparently I think BJP became involved and they ran this Bhojnalai for a large number of people, but then it was shut down and things.
Yeah, around 1 lakh food packet.
That's like they did a pretty big job with it.
Yeah.
So
that place, so they say that the lingam that is there could have been established by Sadhguru SriBrahma, but we don't know for sure. Because nobody knows who established it. We are assuming that it could be Sadhguru SriBrahma who established that linga there.
So that place, there is also like a huge tree outside. Is there something? And there's also another temple near the tree.
That is also a Shiva Shakti temple. That means like Shiva and Parvati temple. It has a lingam as well, and they say it is a very ancient temple, not recent, not like Sadhguru would have established. The temple was already there. It was an ancient temple, so, and the tree also is like very old by the looks of it. So the Swami who was immediately like before, who was taking care of this, they say that he was connected to the Om Prakash Swami, the Om Prakash Swami who had taken the Ooty Lake, Kashi Vishwanath temple. So he and the Swami who was here were connected, and each have acknowledged each other in their books for checking for translation and spell errors and all that. So it seems some kind of connection would have been like he assigned you go and take care of the Coimbatore Ashram or something like that.
But so what is the history of this Sevashram? Like Sadhguru SriBrahma just visited for a bit, or?
So people there who are right now taking care of the place, they themselves don't know. It was more Vijay Kumar telling them the history of the place and all that. So he had collected few newspaper cuttings and articles mentioning about the Sevashram in Coimbatore. And so even this was involved during the reformist movement, like fighting against caste discrimination and stuff like that, Alaya Pravesam. So this was like a hub. So if this was the hub, could be that Sadhguru had stayed there during his Coimbatore. Also, there is a mention where Soundarna is quoting from one of the books that he was reading out, that Sadhguru used to go from Palani to Coimbatore often to go up to Nilgiris Hills to meet his Guru. So he might have used Araspuram Ashram as a place to stay in between before he went to Nilgiris Hills, and then came back, maybe stayed here. Because quite a few times it seems he has made this trip.
Right. Yeah, Coimbatore is well situated for that. It's just a few hours from Coonoor and in transportation.
Those days, Perur itself was like a forest area, it seems. That Perur was the last. After that onwards, the forest started. So there is a mention that even Perur witnessed elephants and all that. So today Perur is all like town area, but the Perur Madadibadi, the head of the ashram of Perur temple, he has seen Sadhguru SriBrahma. So this is like I'm saying 1975 or something like that, 75 or 80. So he describes him as like, he was not like other Swamis and all that. He was like a rough, tough guy, not like a usual sadhu, is what he was intending to say. So this Soundarna had shared.
Yeah, because Perur temple is considered one really old temple. So I think that if Sadhguru SriBrahma would have spent time, yeah, he might have visited and all also. And also because I think he went to the bigger temples and did this, taking the lower caste people inside the temple. So he may have done it. Yeah. Great. So the next place, like you mentioned Palani, because it's quite close. So what's the thing with Palani? Because from your documentary, I got the idea that Palani is like a really amazing place with a lot of big yogis having spent time there.
Correct. So there is no specific ashram there, but the incident where he did Jala Samadhi happened there in Brahma Tirtham. So right now that Tirtham is there, and it's a very nice place. It's compounded, and there is a fence, proper fence. It's maintained well, and there is a small shrine dedicated to Sadhguru SriBrahma with a lingam inside. They say that Sri Guru had established this, and Guruvel Swami Samadhi is also just behind this.
Oh, it's
So
in
maybe-
Palani.
Yes. So maybe he chose this place because that's the place his Guru had, been in Jala Samadhi, and maybe told him that it's where, or he chose because that's the land where many beings chose to shed their body.
Hmm.
So Palani is more of a sacred land, and yeah, that Jala Samadhi is the incident mainly that happened there, and we don't have any other record of. But what's his name? Tapovan Swami. Tapovan he created, no? I talk about Swami who used to meet as a boy. He meets Sadhguru in Palani.
Yeah, that Swami Chinmayananda.
Swami Chidbhavananda.
Yeah.
So Swami Chidbhavananda meets him often. So when he was 12 years old, he meets him. Again, when he was 18 years old, again he meets him in Palani. So I am assuming that Sadhguru could have been going to Palani often, and or maybe doing certain workshops or sessions where, there are certain periods of his life where he stayed there.
Hmm. And that
But
Navpashana Murti is also there in Palani.
Yeah, that's on top. But we couldn't find any records of, because if he was there in any of the ashrams, they would have mentioned in their text. So, but as far as Vijay Kumar searched, he couldn't find his reference. There are many Sadhgurus mentioned as well. So we don't know if it was him, and nobody is resembling our Sadhgurus this week.
Yeah, because I don't think he was going with a specific name. No, I think people have also named them differently. So unless you find something very strikingly similar, then you won't know to associate.
So there is one mention of him as Sadhguru Parabrahmam and Sadhguru Sadashivam.
Yeah.
So like this, there are many names that they are mentioning him with. And in some place like Swami Chidbhavananda is just mentioning him as Swami in his book. So, but Sadhguru name that he mentions later on, that he kept on repeating his name for inspiration. Swami Chidbhavananda.
So if we go to Palani, we would go to this Brahma Tirtham and meditate there.
Brahma Tirtham, and little behind there is a shrine. You can actually go and sit there.
That is the Guruvel Swami shrine.
No, for Sadhguru itself there is a
Oh, there's a Sadhguru shrine there.